Thank you for watching this congregational update video, which is recorded on Friday, February the 18th, 2022, a snowy, blustery day when wise folk who are able work from home.
The reason for naming the date is because so much about our world is in flux, and the news from governments and public health officers seems to be changing or evolving by the hour, much less the day.
So today we have three key updates to share with you. The first is about the annual congregational meeting date and process. The second is about our plans for resuming on-site use of the church buildings at 204 Lakeview Avenue. And the third is our plans for at least the first half of Lent.
So to begin, our annual congregational meeting, which we call ACM, will be held on Sunday, March 13th at 11 a.m. on Zoom. We are choosing to hold this meeting in an online format for a couple of reasons. Last year's Zoom ACM was successful with great attendance and participation. And given the still high case counts and hospitalizations, our community's far-flungness, and the many people who aren't ready yet to be in a building for an hour, it seems like this is the most accessible format.
So in terms of content for the annual meeting, we'll be celebrating, and yes, it is celebrating what has been actually a remarkable and successful year with online worship, deepening our prayer connections with the congregational care clusters, keeping connections going. Social justice that despite all of our lockdowns has been dispersed and effective. All of the work that we've done around hybrid technology readiness for this moment in time, and that sanctuary being 9/10 complete, but 100% paid for. Speaking of finances, it's thanks to the many year-end donations, in addition to your generosity throughout the year, that we managed to finish the year with a much smaller operating deficit than we anticipated. So you're going to see most of this collated into the annual report, which will also share news of the ministries and teams' work of the last year.
At the annual meeting, we will be sharing the proposed budget for 2022. We will keep most expenses similar to last year, and we hope to increase revenue from space use. We will finish the sanctuary renovation with funds designated for that purpose. We anticipate a small deficit. We see 2022 as a transitional year as we hopefully emerge from COVID. First, going forward, not back, with many aspects of both our new and long-standing ministries that have changed so that we can continue to thrive in a post-pandemic context. Second, while still keeping us true to our identity and values as Cedar Park United, and an open, affirming community of faith and witness, keeping the good news, the teaching, and the call of Jesus relevant and real in a complex, hurting world.
So the budget proposal and the ministry planning proposals are all reflecting this transitional moment in our life. And I see that more as a creative tension rather than linear precision. So we're looking forward to having these conversations with you in real time on March 13th.
One gap we are trusting in God to help us with, since we know God lets us ask you all to help, is who will succeed Pascal Ricard as treasurer. While we have an excellent finance team and a bookkeeper, Steve Cole, we are just not quite yet seeing who the treasurer is going to be for the next term of 3 years. So we ask you, is God calling you?
Let's move to the second update, which is about resuming the use of the buildings for worship and for ministry and activities. There is a COVID response team that meets regularly, and with the board, they are working through all of the deliberations and decisions.
So first, we're resuming on-site public worship on March 6th with live stream. This will be with masking, hand sanitizing, physical distancing, and for now, vaccine passports. We've done a study of ventilation with some experts. So for worship on Sunday mornings, we will open the windows at 9 a.m. to exchange the air and close them once people arrive. The windows will be shut during worship, and we'll have the heat on. We'll open them again after worship's ended. As well, we will no longer be having pre-registration because we do not have a capacity limit and we are not required to do contact tracing. Now, March 13th worship service will only be on Zoom so that everyone is home and ready for the annual congregational meeting, which will follow. That way, nobody is in transit.
And then after the 13th, we'll resume on-site and in-person worship plus live stream again on March 20th. And all through this time, Kids Zoom will continue on Zoom at 9 o'clock on Sundays. And from the March 6th and the 20th, we're looking forward again to being able to welcome all generations back to Sunday mornings. And to help us do that, primary age children will have on-site children's worship in the community hall so that we can all be on site together.
Finally, weekday ministries will also begin to be gradually reintroduced as regulations permit, with masking, distancing, and vaccination passports. We're really wanting to be able to use our kitchen to resume and increase our food ministry activities. Hybridity is key for these last weeks of winter, using Zoom for meetings. The staff are mostly working from home, but we're glad that various groups will be able to plan for on-site activities within these guidelines.
And I think that's a good segue then to our third update, which is about at least the first half of Lent. So Lent begins this year on March 2nd on Ash Wednesday, and we will be holding our Ash Wednesday service again on Zoom at noon. Throughout Lent, Wednesdays, for those who live locally, we're hoping to open the labyrinth for walking meditation, but for those who are online, I'll also be doing some labyrinth-based meditation for those of you who are far-flung. During Lent, the faith discussion group picks up again on Thursday mornings with 21 things you may not know about the Indian Act. It's part of our ongoing commitment as a community of faith to the work of Indigenous and settler reconciliation. Midweek Midrash moves to Wednesday evenings, which opens up possibilities for those who work during the day to join us, but that still is going to be on Zoom, so global and in the evening.
We will have some social justice activities yet to be determined during Lent, but this will include the sale of Revi's and Martha's book to raise funds for global vaccine equity. We will keep you updated through the website, Friday updates, seniors newsletters, and FYMC update newsletter as we emerge.
One thing just to put in your calendar, if you are a family with younger children, we are going ahead with our plan to have a Lent activity day on Saturday, March the 26th, and the worship the next day will follow on with the same theme. And I get the job of putting all of what we've just said inside this big caveat, which is we are always reading, following the legal requirements. We're using our best judgment on what we know about our community, which may mean, God forbid, that if there is another real spike, we may have to do some temporary limitations again, but our movement is forward.
We move forward to live our logo, to feed spirits in worship and faith discussion for all ages, to fulfill God's purpose for us, using our time, talents, and treasure to live the dream of God, and to work towards a deeper radical hospitality where all God's critters can feel at home at Cedar Park United. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for watching. God bless.